Hey guys, welcome to the Everything Paranormal Show. I'm your host, Josh Morris, and thank you for joining me tonight, this Thursday. What is this, September 17th already? Holy crap, I didn't even know what day it was. All right, but thank you for joining me, guys. And we have a great show tonight. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. Make sure you watch this all the way to the end. We've got some good things. Like I said, a damn good show. We're going to be talking about the subject that I really wanted to talk about tonight is going to be an Facebook user. See, you got to go to that link on my in the Facebook group and allow StreamYard so I can see who you are, or you can just type in the chat. So hi, sorry, but guys, tonight we're going to be talking about, are ghosts real and what are they? Okay. Now, again, there's a thousand theories out there, but one thing that we haven't done in a while, and I always talk about how this show is like the show that you can participate in. So this is one of those episodes where you guys can, we're going to get back into some theoretical discussion. Again, there's a thousand theories out there, thousands probably, whatever, all kinds of variations. So we're going to talk about my theories because that's all that matters. It's my show. No, I'm just kidding. But we'll talk about some common things and just things based on experience over the years. So one of the things that I know a lot of people um, talk about is they want to say, well, are ghosts real? I mean, that's the number one thing that everybody's trying to figure out. Um, I would say that, and we're just going to dive right in, guys. We're going to dive right in. And I would say, listen, excuse me, I'm just kind of arranging my desk. Got to take, I'm not sponsored by this. I am sponsored by Paranormal Underground Magazine, though. So, guys, so are ghosts real? Right? That's kind of like the major question that we all look for. And I would say this, if you've never had a paranormal experience in your life, now, again, some people, they want to have that experience. I remember a year ago when we did the Outer Realm Fest in Harriman, Tennessee. A gentleman came up to us, a young man came up, and he said, uh, I want to believe in the paranormal. Like, I go to places, I want to believe. I think he even was talking about how he was like, just like taunting and everything, and he cannot get a anything paranormal to happen to him. So of course, my wife and I talked to him for a little bit, and he kind of turned out to be one of those guys that no matter what you said, it's kind of like he had an answer for. So sometimes that happens. But the point is, and I started thinking about it more, right? And it's kind of stuck with me. But sometimes, yeah, I mean, when you have non-believers, they're not probably going to have an experience. Things that may happen to them, they may just kind of discount it as whatever. Like they don't like whatever, they don't even think about it being paranormal. Um, People that want to experience it so bad, and you're like, please do something. It tends to create these energies that, in my opinion, seems to either block paranormal or they're just not going to give that to you sometimes, or it may happen in ways that you don't realize either. Um, Sometimes people don't realize the paranormal that happens to them in their life. They don't always realize that, so they move on. They move on and they don't they don't think twice about it. Then there's the people, of course, that, like myself, has been a believer, and I kind of have like one foot in belief, the other foot still a little skeptical, not cynical, but skepticism. A healthy dose of skepticism is not bad, especially when you're an investigator. So, um, so over the years, like I said, are ghosts real? I have to say that I personally am just going to come straight out and say, yes, I believe they are. I believe something is happening beyond the normal. Okay. I do believe in paranormal. And because I personally believe in God, I do believe in ghosts and spirits and things like that. As far as the rules and how everything works, that's another story. That's another thousand beliefs. So, but yeah, I mean, are ghosts real? Well, again, paranormal experiences are going to vary, but over the years, there's been things that's happened that I just cannot explain. EVPs. Some people say, well, maybe EVPs are pareidolia or whatever. Look, there's some EVPs where you clearly hear a person's voice talking and there's nobody around. This is not a spirit box. This is not a radio station, and it's created in the white noise. Um, so again, we're not going to justify EVPs, but I'm just going to say, to me, they're justified. I've been around and done enough recordings over the years, so I know that there's things that happen. I know there's things that happen. That's why the biggest evidence for me that ghosts are real has been EVPs. It really has. I'm not going by like the fake YouTube stuff where you get some of these channels that's going around and they're slamming doors or flipping chairs with sticks that they're holding in their hands off camera or fishing line. I'm not going to get into that subject. Okay. I'm not going to get into that subject, but you know, when when you're around it and you go out in the field, this is why I tell people, okay, let me get into this part. So I tell people all the time, if you want to find out if ghosts are real, you have to get out in the field. You have to go to these places. Maybe not even, you can, a lot of times people, you can do that in your house. Now, you're going to get some people that's going to say, Josh, don't tell people to investigate in their own home. I mean, you can. That's all I'm saying. Is it advisable? I don't know. It just depends on what you want to do. But if you want to truly answer that question, are ghosts real? Then you're going to have to go and do some work out in the field. You're going to have to. It's hard to kind of sit back and take other people's word for it because you'll always wonder to yourself, like, I don't know, man, is that real? Is he doing something? Is he manipulating something? Are they faking it? Are they doing something off camera? So in order to experience it, like I said, I was very skeptical. If and I'm going to take a moment because we're talking about paranormal, we're talking about beliefs, right? We're talking about these things. So I'm going to take a moment to talk about the fact that, look, I've got a book, right? My Paranormal, little shameless plug, My Paranormal Guide to the Spirit Realms, right? I talk about some things that happen in my childhood, things that I couldn't explain. Every once in a while, like I said, there's been things in my life that's caused me to believe in paranormal. But in the back of my mind, I always wondered, like, um, I've always wondered, like, maybe because I was a kid or whatever, maybe these certain things, and I there was always a reason for me to possibly doubt something. So I still couldn't fully commit in my mind because again, I'm a very logical based person. I don't just go around and like, I'm not nerding out on ghosts. So in my mind, I'm just thinking, am I going to be a crazy person if I actually believe in ghosts? So the answer is like, no, you're not going to be that crazy, especially nowadays. Nowadays, like people talk about all the time. I mean, it's okay to do paranormal stuff. Um, 15, 20 years ago, maybe not. People would be like, that dude's crazy talking about ghosts. And everybody had ghost stories, but to actually talk about believing in ghosts, it's kind of weird, right? So but the point is when I I always had that doubt. Well, again, and I've talked about this before in other broadcasts. It really wasn't until my wife and I truly sat down with a recorder and we controlled our own environment by turning everything off in the house and conducting an EVP session. So when I can say without a doubt, look, everything in the house was turned off. I even went as far as to cut all the circuit breakers. Okay. There's nothing in the house, nobody else in the house, and just my wife and I, and two people that were sitting right by us. Nobody making noises, nobody making voices, nobody. It's deaf quiet. And when you hear on the recording a child's voice and like a man screaming at the top of his lungs, and it never existed, you can tell we didn't even react to it on the recording. But when it's on the recording, it's like, it's some type of disembodied voice. It's something beyond reality or our known realm, right? So that's why I talk about, guys, are ghosts real? Absolutely. Absolutely, they're real in my eyes. That was when I truly was able to say, holy crap, this just happened in my own home, in my own controlled environment. So then it was like, all right, now I got to try it again. Or now it's like it becomes an addiction in a way, small addiction. Maybe not. I mean, I don't tend to get like addicted, except for maybe like food. Food's like been my worst addiction. And that's why I'm overweight. But, but with paranormal, I knew I had to get out there. And again, so we started our first team back in the day, right? The old term back in the day, and thus eventually we ended up here, right? So, but along the way, like I said, all the locations I went to, it's like you remember some of the first times. Um, uh, hey, Terry Lynn popped in. She said she's driving. Yeah, she couldn't join us earlier because she was finishing up some tennis with our son. So they were doing a match. But anyways, guys, so when we were doing investigations, like I said, you always remember where you were some of the first times as you're discovering these things in the world of paranormal. I said, I never believed in ghosts. I'm like, man, whatever. But then when we got those EVPs, it was like, man, there is something to this. Like I always suspected, like I said, I had experiences before, but I knew there was something going on with this. And then I remember, like the first time I saw a dark shadow, and it's like you could look down, and even Shadow Vixen, even Terry Lynn, we could look down this aisle and you can see it pacing and blocking out light behind it. You can see it pacing and looking around the aisle and stuff at us. It was awesome. The first time we ever witnessed things like that. So then, like I said, and as you go in different investigations, you see these things. Not often, you see shadows. Shadows are tricky because sometimes you got to be careful. Your light can reflect a lot of like your film, your lighting. As you're moving around filming things, sometimes it reflects off of other things and shoots light in other directions, which casts shadows on other angles. So you have to always keep that in mind when you are walking around and you're trying to debunk these things. So keep that in mind too. But but the point is that when you go through all these cases over the years, like each case, and you review hundreds of hours of evidence and just tons of hours, you start to see a pattern. You start to see what evidence seems to be real and what evidence seems to be, it's called experience, right? We all learn, we all become a veteran of the field. So over the years, I can tell you that almost every single investigation I've gone to, there's been some type of EVP caught, whether it's, class C, class B, or class A. There's been some type, either one or multiple EVPs. It's rare that I've gone to a place and not getting anything. It's rare. It happens, but it is rare. So that's why I'm saying EVPs to me are truly one of the best forms of proving that there is something beyond. Okay. In my opinion, just based on experience over the years. Photographs is a little more tricky because now you do start getting into matrixing, right? We've all taken those awesome photographs and it's like, okay, is this matrixing? I'm not sure what's going on. And sometimes it looks really good. And it's like, man, this looks like a person. I had one, and I really can't show it right now because with this format that I'm using, you have to kind of like preload stuff. But I had a photo in, if anybody watched the Eaton House, there's a window shot where it looks like this, almost like a pig lady or something. I don't know, like kind of a creepy looking zombie figure. Um, Bob popped in, yo, homies. So, what's going on, Bob? So, we're talking about our ghost reel. We're talking about experiences, but right now I'm talking about matrixing just to catch you up. But in the Eaton House, if you guys watch that video, there's a window that pans over, and if you see, it's a window in the living room. And my wife's like, she did a freeze frame, and she's like, oh my god, look, and she sent me this picture, and it looked really good. Now, see, my wife wasn't there, so she didn't know. But when I went back and started looking through everything, I was able to debunk it because there's a gas tank with like a rusty cap and then the white of the tank, and it just forms this head, this face. And then once you realize what you're looking at, then you can say, oh, okay, it's the top of a gas tank, like a propane tank. Um, but sometimes when you're not there on location, you don't know that. So if I wanted to be dishonest, I could have posted that to, like, I could have put that in the video and said to you guys, like, oh man, look at this. This is like a creepy looking zombie looking person. And it would have been creepy. But that's part of being honest and debunking. That's why we have more boring content than some of the other ones, because they're faking it and making cool content. So I know. Um, so, but in any case, we're at photographs. So, photographs, do they prove paranormal? Do they prove that ghosts exist? Again, that's really tough. Now, I have seen some really good photographs. Have I? I guess it's kind of one of those doubting Thomas moments. It's like, until I take that photograph where I see like an actual person, and I'm gonna go, okay, now that's real. When I see other ones, I don't know. I don't know if it's double exposure. You have your pre-digital era, then you have your post-digital era where all this digital film is, can be easily manipulated. Then you, like I said, your original film, you could have double exposures and all kinds of different effects. So again, I have to kind of yield to the experts, when it comes to photographs. And can I consider myself a photograph expert? No. Even though I've looked at many over the years, I wouldn't say I'm an expert. So video can be really good. Again, when it comes to video, it's really weird because I haven't been able to capture a lot of dark shadows and stuff. Like, again, you got a lot of these fakers that seem to capture it every week. But over the years, capturing dark shadows is really tough, really, really tough. I think visually we tend to see them a lot, um, but they don't always, show up in film or your video. Bob says sometimes you have to be very careful with SLS cameras picking up shapes that are not spirits. And yeah, and like when you're trying to prove that ghosts exist, validation is key, right? I know we talked about equipment and stuff on some other ones. I don't want to dive too much into equipment, but to kind of add to Bob's point, like you should know your equipment as best as you can, but you also want to validate. So, for example, SLS camera, if you guys aren't familiar, just in case you're watching and maybe you're not sure, SLS camera is the Kinect version of a ghost hunting tool, so to speak. It's a form, but it's like Kinect, Xbox Kinect, and you basically you'll see like a stick figure and things like that. Um, and so it's important to validate because the software the technology is when you're going through this house, and I'm pretending like I'm holding an SLS camera, but if you're going through a house and you're scanning it with this SLS, it's trying to detect a human form. It's trying to detect these things. So sometimes it will map a human, but it'll map it out of like a post from like a stairs or a door frame or who knows all kinds of it sees things differently than we do, so it starts to map an object and make that stick figure it looks like a person. It thinks it sees a person. So and it moves around a little bit because again it's constantly doing a refresh rate and all this stuff, so it kind of moves around. And what Bob is talking about is with being careful is you want to validate. The way you validate these things, um, yes, honey, pick up dinner, please. We're all starving. Thank you. And we'll pass them out to you guys in the chat. So if you guys are hungry, we'll send some food out in the chat. I don't know, but anyways, SLS. So you want to validate, right? You want to validate by, and I know I've said that like 5 times. The way you do it is by asking questions. You want to try to invoke an intelligent response. So if you got a stick figure and it's like kind of moving, whatever, and you're like, "Hey, can you raise your hand? Can you wave?" And it's like, then can you do that again? See, now you probably have an intelligent, you probably are responding to an intelligent spirit. If you're like, if it's just sitting there and you're like, "Hey, wave," or like, "Hey, do point," or can you reach out and touch me? And it just kind of keeps doing its thing and whatever. It's probably just, again, a mapping thing. So part of again going through the equipment, knowing your equipment, but also validating these things. That's very, very important. And if you can, sometimes you can use other equipment to what we call cross validate. So not only are you getting maybe an intelligent response, but maybe you have another piece of equipment that's detecting like a temperature drop, or maybe you got your EMF meters going off. Again, a couple pieces of equipment that's all doing things at the same time, probably not coincidental. It's cross validation. Um, so you said it as I was typing it exactly. Um, but yeah, so I think again, when we're in that search of are ghosts real, you want to validate and make sure things work out. But levels of things, and this is just like I said, experience over the years, guys. There's all kinds of like SLS. There's all these new fancy things. The thermal cameras are getting more affordable. A lot more people are starting to get thermal. They're getting the sensors. There's all kinds of equipment. I don't want to get into all the different types of equipment, but guys, again, when you're trying to answer that question, are ghosts real? There's it, there's nothing out there that's going to replace going out in the field. You just have to get out there. You feel it, you experience it. There's intuition. There's a lot of things that happen. And you can go to these places and experience paranormal, and when you walk away from there, you did. You did, right? Or maybe you didn't. Some people again, you may not ever experience it. So, so that's why I said it's very important, guys, that when you're trying to answer that question, it's going to vary for everybody. Some people they just fully commit. They're like, I'm already sold, man. Ghosts are real, and I just want to try to get evidence, right? Some people again are a lot more skeptical, and then we go further and we get into cynicism. So if you're too cynical, there's probably never going to be enough evidence for you. Never, never. So if you want to believe, you're going to have to be more skeptical than cynical, I guess is what I'm saying. Um, I want to take a moment out with you guys, and I want to take a quick little moment. And for those of you that want to learn how to support the channel, um, I've got a little thing for you. We'll take a quick moment. Hey guys, if you like the work that we do here at the Everything Paranormal Show, there's many ways that you can help support the channel. Go to the everythingparanormalshow.com, click donate or subscribe. That's going to help us out. And if you can't do that, click like and share, and that's going to help us out in a tremendous way. Thank you so much, guys. So there you go. So we do appreciate everything that you guys do for us. We have started getting some people donating, and again, we want to thank you guys out there. You know who you are. We've already started getting some help and some support. So we're trying to build up that dream. We're trying to build up that support. So we're going to do everything we can for you guys. I see you see me. Hey, how's it going? It's good to see you. I'm glad to see that you're able to join us. I was starting to worry about you. You know, anytime I don't see like Bob or I see you see me or something, I mean, those two right there are like major regulars. And of course, my wife, obviously, but she's on the road and picking up dinner for us. And we've had kind of a late evening. I had to drive separate and come home and start the show for you guys. But again, talking about the quest for Argos real. And like I said, for me personally, over the years, you know, in the years of investigating, not over my lifetime years. Again, it wasn't really later, but I do feel like ghosts are real because I feel like there's something out there for sure. I'm always going to be open minded for um for what it really means. So sometimes people Christians struggle with this because it sometimes can cause a little bit of weakness in their faith, but I feel like my faith is strong. But I feel like you can still be open to other possibilities, or at least open to maybe a different set of rules potentially. And I know it sounds like I'm could be a little hypocritical on that, but I do have strong faith and I do feel like I'm a Christian. I feel like I am a Christian, and I have strong convictions, and I'm not afraid to say that on camera. But at the same time, I'm always going to be open minded to listening to different viewpoints, um, different things. I'm always going to consider that because I don't know the rules. I know that there's something out there. I know that there's things that respond to me sometimes. I know that things that I capture on audio all the time. I capture audio evidence all the time. Bob said ghosts are real, but they may not be real where you are at Validate. And Bob says, feel free to eat when Terryland gets your food. There are only three of us watching, and we don't care. So, well, hey, we get quite a bit of views afterwards. I don't always get a lot of people watch live, but we do get a pretty good response. But yeah, I don't want to eat out of the air. Besides, she's still out here, and we've only got 30 more minutes, really, because I have to go to work to my other job tonight, guys. Another reason why we want to do all that. But again, another shameless plug tonight, guys. Go to Amazon, pick up my book, My Paranormal Guide to the Spirit Realms. If you are curious about my theories, I cover just about everything in there, from reincarnation to even Schumann's resonance in our alpha waves, kind of how that may kind of ground some of our spirit to earth, our earthbound spirit body. I talk about those things, so definitely check it out. Um, Taylor's is waiting for it. Oh, waiting for the food, probably. Yeah. So let's take a quick moment out now that we're kind of about halfway through the show, and let's talk a little bit about Paranormal Underground magazine, shall we? So, Paranormal Underground magazine is it's a great magazine. Okay, and if you go to their website, all right, Paranormal Underground, I think it's like .net or something. But anyways, if you just type them in the search, Paranormal Underground magazine, you're going to get their website. Email them, contact them, say, hey, Josh sent me. Josh from the Everything Paranormal Show sent me your way. You are going to get an entire year of digital magazine for free. It's like the first of every month. It's going to come in your email. Boom, it's going to show up, and it's amazing, guys. Fully illustrated. It is a full blown actual magazine. Tons of articles. Bob Fountain in the chat. All right. He's one of the contributors, and he pretty much is in most articles a lot of times. Okay. But a lot of great articles in there. Cheryl Knight, the owner. We're trying to get her on the show, possibly this October. I've been talking with her. She's excited. She's just trying to make sure we can line up something where, guys, in the world of paranormal, we're getting into the busy season, right? As we get into September, October, this is the busy season for a lot of us. And so who knows? I'm going to try to get out and maybe do some field stuff. Maybe we can do I don't know. Maybe we can get out to the haunted, the Nickerson Sneed Haunted Mansion. They usually do that. I did some lives there last year. Maybe we can do some lives there this year. Who knows? We'll figure some things out possibly. But guys, go check out Paranormal Underground magazine. Tell them I sent you. You're going to get a year for free. Love it. So, also, while we're here, another thing I want to talk to you guys about is Seek the Truth Paranormal. Make sure you guys go check out and subscribe to the YouTube channel Seek the Truth Paranormal. And it is, God, I don't have the dang I don't have the stupid picture, but it's one there's not a lot of subs, and it's kind of that picture of like the grudge looking girl in front of the cemetery. So go check that out, because that is Terry Lynn, aka Shadow Vixen. That's her new channel, and she's going to be bringing some content on there. But again, we've been really busy. We're just trying to get you guys to maybe start subscribing. That way, as soon as she does post some content, you guys will get alerted, and you'll be able to see some stuff from her. So definitely go check out Seek the Truth Paranormal. And I think she's even doing the Facebook and all that stuff here soon. So, and guys, I also want to take a quick moment to talk about how you guys are amazing. You guys are awesome. Not only are you guys sending some donations in, and we're starting to get there. We're already a few $100 out of our goal is to at least get to what, like 6,000 at least, so I can try to launch my my thing. So we're already a few $100 in, guys, already since last time. So that's amazing. And we're up to 698 subs. We're getting close to that 1,000 mark. But remember, 1,000 subs, we're still not going to be monetized unless we get our watch hours to 4,000. We're at 1,009 watch hours. So we're only 1/4 of the way to our watch hours. So just letting you know, if you want to take some time and go through my videos and, go have some marathons and watch some of my old stuff, by all means, watch away. We got to get those watch hours up there. So, it was really hard to find, but now, yeah. And again, that's a lot because she's just not high up on the algorithm yet. But again, once we get enough subs and we start getting some content, we'll try to get her channel up as well. And eventually, again, this part of this whole thing is if we get enough support from you guys and we're able to do this on a more regular basis, we'll definitely be pumping out a lot more content and filling up both channels on a regular basis. So, hi, Facebook user. So, not sure. I just want to pop that in there just to show you Not sure who you are. Might have to type in your name, but there's a link in the Facebook group. By the way, there's a link that you can go to let uh, StreamYard, the service that I use for the streams, you can let them give them like permission to show your name. So Rachel Electro, hey, how's it going? I'm so bringing these videos. I'm so bringing these videos as if I needed an excuse. Oh, binging. I'm so binging these videos as if I need. Thank you. All the watch hours I can get, guys. I'm telling you, that's going to help tremendously because you got to imagine we're 3,000 watch hours away, and that's a lot of that's a lot of hours. So I'm trying to give you all some great content. Dixie Ray, hey, hope you all. I hope you're having a great day as well. So, guys, love. Oh, I see. You see me says it's me. Okay. Well, see, it just shows Facebook user. So, but yes, guys, thank you all so much for your support. I love it. I love it. And and one more thing here again, I want to show you guys because I made this special little video for you guys. That way, if you wanna help support the channel, let's get this there. But yeah, guys, loving it. Hey guys, if you like the work that we do here at the Everything Paranormal Show, there's many ways that you can help support the channel. Go to the everythingparanormalshow.com, click donate or subscribe. That's going to help us out. And if you can't do that, click like and share, and that's going to help us out in a tremendous way. Thank you so much, guys. See, that's making my little commercial now. I had to film that recently, so hope you guys like that. But you'll probably see that in a lot of my videos now every once in a while, so that way helps direct people, right? So yeah, guys, I'm telling you, get the book, learn some of my theories. It's awesome talking about ghosts tonight. I feel good. We haven't really had a good theoretical show in a while. We've talked about like faking paranormal and some of the dramas out there and stuff like that, and even equipment, but we haven't really gotten too much into the theory. So we kind of been talking a little bit about like are ghosts are real? And again, over the years, I mean, I would say yes, something is out there for sure. We've talked about that the first half of the show. Second half of the show, I really like to get into like what are ghosts, and this is a chance for you guys to pop in there. Again, this is why I wanted to get back to my roots and get you guys talking. Like this is the show that you can participate in. So guys, definitely pop in things in the comments. But what are ghosts? I do feel like whatever is out there, I think, well, let's put it this way. It's my belief that okay, let's go into the living. So right now, I feel like there's three main components that we are made up of, right? I feel like we are the physical body, the spiritual body, and the soul. Okay, now the spirit and the soul are meshed together. Okay, and the only person that can separate the spirit and the soul is God. This is backed up by scriptures. So that's how I feel. Again, this is just my theories. Um, Now, beyond that, when we do pass away, now I'm not going to get into the whole process of what could happen, but I do feel like obviously we do become some form of energy, right? I don't think it's necessarily a form of energy that we can truly detect. So if you want to think about it like ghost energy. Let's just call it something cheesy like that first. So we turn into ghost energy. Okay, it's a form of energy that we cannot quite measure or whatever, right? So let's just call it ghost energy. Now, I believe like one of the ghost energy, so to speak, when you're a spirit, you can manipulate energies in this realm still because I think that all of these energies are on all these levels and they all interact. In other words, those EMF detections that we get, even some of the ion disturbances from the energy movement, um, the battery drains, all these things that happen around energy. I do think that that is being manipulated by that ghost energy, right? So for a spirit to interact in our realm, it has to use properties in our realm, energies in our realm, right? In our world. So those spirits manipulate those energies to interact with us. And it probably takes a great deal of energy on their part. That's why we don't see things on a regular basis. Like, I mean, think about it. If it was easy for a spirit to just like manipulate our energies, think about it. It's like we'd have like freaking insane level hauntings, right? Like they'd be like, oh yeah, like, and they'd be able to manifest and everything. So obviously there's gotta be some type of um of enough energy drain for those. They have to gather, and again, that's why I think it takes a good amount of energy for them to do that. Um, I mean, that's the only way to me why it makes it plausible why we're not having major episodes with ghosts all the time. Again, over many years, guys, you got to think the average investigation, it's like you get an EVP or a couple EVPs, maybe a photograph, maybe you might see a dark shadow. That's realistic. Don't fall for the stuff on YouTube where every time you go, they're having things slam and fall and all this craziness. Okay, that's not realistic. What's realistic is what's real paranormal, and a true paranormal investigator will tell you that what they experienced the most of is EVPs, maybe some photos, just basics, real subtle basics. And of course, feelings, dowsing rod sessions, things like that. You'll see some things like that. So, so the point is in those EVPs, you're not hearing full blown discussions, are you? So think about this. When you do hear an EVP, maybe at most it could be a sentence, but you're not hearing a long, clear, drawn out speech. Imagine if a spirit could easily talk to your recorder. Like, you think about it. If you're a spirit and I'd be like, hey, this is Josh. Can you go ahead and contact my wife, Terry Lynn? This is my address, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, you could reach out and have that discussion. But instead, most of the time, it's, help me. Or it's like one word, two words, three or four words, maybe. It's a small amount of words. And sometimes the words don't fully make sense. So to me, it's like I feel like by hearing that over the years, to me, it just seems like maybe the ghosts have to draw up a lot of energy and they're trying to say something, and maybe it comes out the right word, maybe it comes out the wrong word, maybe it comes out similar to what they want or kind of what they want. Again, you have to remember they're not physical anymore. They don't have vocal cords anymore. They don't have legs to walk. So imagine if you pass on and you don't have physical traits to manipulate your voice, you have to learn how to speak a different way through energy, right? So let me get to the comments here. Bob says, I like theoretical show. So many questions, not enough answers. Right. Question. Do you think, I'll put your question up here. Do you think it takes a spirit who has been around a while to teach a new spirit how to manipulate energy for the ability to connect with us? Well, look, that reminds me obviously of like Patrick Swayze and the Ghost, right? When you had like the dude trying to teach him how to like focus his energy and, flick the bottle cap or whatever it was, right? The can and stuff. You know, I don't know. I don't know how spirits, if they even interact with each other. I don't know. See, that's one of the things I can honestly say. I don't think I've caught much evidence of spirits interacting with each other. However, there does seem to be a conscious effort. Like, it does seem that spirits do tend to know how many spirits tend to be out there. Like we'll hear a lot of times like how many spirits are here, and they'll say like 3 or 4. Um, Sometimes there is some of the interaction, but I'm talking about truthful responses. I'm not talking about things that I've heard on the internet. I'm talking about my own experiences with EVPs and things like that. I don't tend to get a lot of spirits that tend to be like, well, hey, taught this guy a trick or something. So I don't know. Maybe you're right, Bob. It could be. I'm not sure. But if they're on their own, if there was a teaching system, let me just throw this out there. If there was a teaching system among the spirits for thousands of years now that we've had spirits, um, wouldn't you think that they would have evolved, or there would have been enough knowledge passed on to all these different spirits to have more of an advanced energy cycle or an advanced abilities? So that's why I'm not totally convinced that it's a hand me down system on education. I think that they're having to try to learn as much as they can. So sounds like Vixen's home, so that's good. So Dixie says, why do you think some spirits choose to make contact and others don't? Um, this is part of those rules that we talk about. It's like I don't know what the rules are. I don't know if everybody's spirit is sticking around here or if some spirits move on. I don't know if some now we do tend to we have kind of classified a few types of over the years, right? We do know that residual energies tend to exist. We do seem to where some of these things kind of are in that loop, right? And then we also have intelligent energies that seem to be able to respond and all these things. And then we have like these like poltergeist style where, again, they're moving around things and, being noisy, right? The root, noisy ghost. Um, and you can get into like elementals, you can get into these different evil spirits, demons, these type of things, and they all seem to have different intelligent levels or different aspects about them. Um, so I guess it depends on what spirits you're talking with. It's possible that human spirits, there may be some that can't talk. They may not even be allowed to, but they may not know how to communicate. You know, I mean, they could be shy, right? You could have a shy ghost. If they're shy in real life, they could be shy in the afterlife, and they may not want to talk. They may be dealing with their own, it could be a punishment, a purgatory system. We don't know why they may. These are just things I'm throwing out there to offer to you guys of why they may not communicate. I just know that there is spirits that do communicate. We are getting a form of communication from the other side. We are. I mean, I'll argue that. I'll die on that hill because I've been there enough to know we are getting something from the other side. As to why, I don't know. Let's see. We had an EVP where a voice of old lady saying, "I didn't mean to scare you off." Yeah, I mean, Bob's got some amazing EVPs on his website. One of these days, I probably need to put some EVPs that I capture on my site, but I've mostly been posting them on YouTube, like in the videos, and letting you guys have been finding stuff too. So for those of you that watch my investigations, hey, by all means, go through there if you hear something. And that Nickerson Snee one I did had some pretty good EVPs in there, I think. So Rachel Electra says, I do think that can be the case. Our loved ones often hand the baton to more experienced spirits. We have extensive chats, and it's possible. Again, I'm always open to those things. Sometimes we have psychics that have spirit guides, and I don't necessarily want to say it's kind of like that scene in Ghost where Whoopi Goldberg's character is sitting around and you got all the spirits kind of hanging around wanting to talk and this. I don't know. Sometimes other psychics will almost try to emulate that scene. So I don't know if they're doing it because it was Hollywood, but I'm just telling you, in my experiences over the years, I haven't quite seen that myself. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So good theories, Josh. Thank you. Um, but I'm just trying to be realistic because of what I've gone through over the years and what I've seen. And I'm the type of person that's like, look, I hear theories over here. I hear theories over here. I've always been the truth lies somewhere in the middle kind of person, typically. So so through experience, it's like again, there's been so many almost every time I go to investigations, I hear EVPs. We find some type of EVP, whether it's a good EVP or bad EVP or a combination of. But we tend to get like one, at least one, almost every time. Not all the time, but a majority of the time. So that tells me that there is something out there. It's not just a coincidence. We're getting a lot of that. So people that say no, it doesn't happen, you're full of crap, and then yes, we're getting a lot of it. Again, truth is in the middle. I do feel like yes, that majority of those EVPs are real. Now, some of them maybe they get debunked, but there's so many of them that yes, it's got to be real. And even Bob, like for example, one on his website spectraltech.org, there's a like he's got a couple really good EVPs. And what I'm saying, like, I didn't mean to scare you off. You can clearly anybody can go there and listen to it, and you can hear it's a woman, like an older woman, say, "I didn't mean to scare you off." I mean, it's an amazing EVP, and every once in a while, you get those amazing EVPs, and that's why I'm saying, to me, it's real. When you're there and there's nobody else there, and you capture those things, we are getting communication from the other side. As far as the rules, again, that's always the challenge, right? So I try to look at what things do we see and what would offer the most logical explanations. Again, if we could communicate easily, then we would have much better sentences and longer explanations of EVPs. Same thing with the same thing with our seeing things visually. Hey, Tata Longo popped in there, says using digital equipment uses ones and zeros, either there or it's not, so there's no third option. Well, and again, that's you can always take that technological approach and you can say, look, but interpreting that data, see, I think that's where people are getting the gray area. You're right. And in my business, being in the cable industry and internet industry, yes, digital either works or it doesn't, right? When we're watching TV and you have a digital feed, if we don't have snow anymore, if you the old fashioned cable, you'd have snow because you have the analog signal and you get snow. With the data, digital signal kind of looks like a castellated wall, right? And like Tata's talking about, yeah, it's like one zeros. It's either works or it doesn't. So if you get a drop in data, you're watching TV and you see a little bit of a freeze or pixelation or something. That's that little drop of data as you're streaming all this information. And when it doesn't have that data, it just kind of freezes or it stops. It just doesn't have enough data to work. So you get the little hiccups, or maybe it just stops working and it's black. Anyways, but in EVPs, you're you have to interpret that data, right? And that's where the argument is, because somebody may interpret and say, I heard a woman say, I didn't mean to scare you off. And somebody else may say, I think that's crap. And you're picking up something else, or I think that's whatever, or I think that's wrong. Now, class A EVPs, it's hard to argue with. Once you get to like class B, class C, then there's a lot more debate. And people are like, nah, man, that was just a breath or whatever. So the interpretation of that data is uh, is the big thing. But I appreciate the comment for sure. Um, absolutely. So this is what I was talking about is I know that we're getting communication from the other side. I know that. There's no doubt in my mind. Over the years, I've just gotten too much evidence. Um, is it is it hard proof? I don't know. I mean, you could say that. I think it is, in my opinion, because again, I know that I'm there. Nobody else is there except for, like I said, and yeah, like if I'm sitting next to my wife and we're both being absolutely quiet, like I know she's not saying anything. So if we do a recording in a place by ourselves that we know there's nobody there, we've cleared the house or we're in our own house, whatever, and you hear something on a recording, you know it's paranormal in that sense. You really do. You know that. And it's not a radio station. You're not hearing now spirit boxes, it's another story. Spirit boxes, I'm not a big fan of. I know in theory, it's you're supposed to scan through and and if you hear a word that's spread out over the increments, then it's supposed to be like an actual EVP, right? I don't know, man. I've always been on the fence. I still use them and I still try to use them in our videos every once in a while. I get it, but at the same time, I still am a little hesitant on it because it is scanning those radio frequencies, and sometimes you can hear bits and pieces of a radio DJ's voice or a commercial or something like that. So spirit boxes, I personally love audio recorders. Again, they're just recording the true audio there, and you know that's just me. So that's my favorite proof of equipment. Now, dowsing rods for proving stuff. Again, dowsing rods are still fairly new for me. I've been starting to incorporate them now a lot, but man, I gotta say, it's for me, it's been amazing because holding those rods, getting the spirits to manipulate that energy, um, you can feel it. And I'm trying to hold the rods. They're crossing, they're stopping, they're uncrossing. Sometimes they push out. It's crazy. So Bob says, if you believe that God influenced the writers of the Bible, it should not be that hard to believe spirits don't communicate the same way. Well, again, I don't always feel like, or I mean, I realize that spirits tend to have different. I'm not just saying it's one dimensional, right? I don't want to say that spirits can only do certain things. I do think that spirits probably, it seems to be over the years, because people say, well, how come when you go to a house that may be haunted, how come you only hear certain things, or how come you only have certain activities like door knocks, or like something tapping or knocking intelligently, or responses, EVPs? Why do you have these certain things that happen? And it kind of makes me wonder if maybe spirits learn certain things, and like that's the kind of like their thing. It's like, okay, I learned how to knock on a wall, or tap on a window. I learned how to do that with energy. I learned how to try to communicate, and use they really have to get that energy, to say a word, to say something. They have to really generate energy. Sometimes they're getting fed from natural springs nearby, and some places just have more energies than other. Sometimes they have to drain batteries for additional energies. Sometimes you can feel it too. You can feel a lot of times when you're at a location, you can feel the energies building in that location. Like you're not getting any paranormal. Sometimes it'll feel flat at first, but it'll start building and start building, and things are starting to they're going to start happening. You just feel it. It's crazy. Especially the more in tune you are with um, your 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 psychic abilities, and I believe that. Tata Longo, there's there's a course, on remote viewing on Udemy. You guys should check it out. I've been I've been starting to take it. I haven't been able to, I kind of got stuck on a part because I haven't been able to take the time to truly focus like you're supposed to do. So I'm kind of stuck right now on that because I work 3 jobs. So it's like I'm kind of stuck at that one little spot, but I will finish that course at some point, and it's really good. Um, but yeah, guys, there's a lot of theories out there, and I you should always look at all the different theories. I think what it is though is it's just trying to patch together what you experience, what's being experienced out there on an average. And again, I'm not talking about fake YouTube channels. I'm not talking about chairs getting flipped over and doors slamming and pill bottles getting knocked off shelves and just craziness. There's a lot of fake stuff that happens. And again, people do not understand that regular paranormal, if you go out there in the field every day and you investigate places, you don't experience these things all the time. It's very boring most of the time. People don't get that. They're watching these YouTube channels. I don't want to get off on this tangent. This is not a show about faking paranormal. I just want you guys to understand the repercussions of when they fake and they get everybody in that mindset of, oh my God, you're going to have doors slamming, or you might have this, you might have that. Sure, there could be some large scale paranormal events that happen from time to time, but again, it's extremely, extremely rare. Okay. So, um, yeah, Bob talks about retirement's the only job. Tom said it's okay at your own pace. Um, Rafe sounds like my cat slamming things, knocking things over, weird, creepy noises. Yeah, and sometimes there is definitely real world reasons for those things, right? But 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 seriously, when you spend enough time and you do it enough over the years, you start to realize what truly is paranormal. And yes, there to me, there is things out there that are paranormal. And there seems to be certain rules. We just can't seem to figure them out yet because there hasn't been a full pattern of that yet where we truly can connect. But what I'm saying is it just seems like as if there are certain things that spirits can and can't do realistically, not fake, but realistically. And for me, communication. But they seem to only be able to communicate when it comes to your equipment. Now, maybe you can have spirits that may be able to talk to you or even show themselves to you. Like, okay, so let's talk about what I call psycho manifesting, right? We have energy in our brains. We have alpha waves, we have, there's actual energy our in our what we call our PKE, right? Our psychokinetic energy. So who's to say that a spirit, in order to manifest themselves, cannot, who's to say that they can't use some of that energy in your mind to show themselves to you? So you see a full-on apparition, but you have a camera aimed at this apparition and it never shows up on the camera. Why? Because they've presented themselves to you basically visually through your mind. Okay. This is also where sometimes we get people like ghosts that communicate and will talk with you sometimes with your mind, right? And the energies from those minds. So, um, so, so that's why I'm saying, to me, there's another part of the paranormal which is psychological, and I don't always believe that we psychologically are manifesting this. I think that yes, there is actual paranormal that is able to do that, because there's many times when investigators will witness the same thing. My wife and I have witnessed the same thing, but yet it's not on camera. So that's what I'm saying. I think that spirits also, there's a level of energy psychologically that they're able to manipulate to communicate also. Okay. So I wanted to throw that part of paranormal out to you guys also. Bob says there are things out there that we're never human. We're always have to be very careful and aware. And and this is what I talk about is there is things out there that I feel like one there's elemental spirits like I don't want to dive too much into this, but there was an investigation that recently I encountered an elemental for the first time. And this was something that was the Native Americans had manifested not like a curse, but like a protection, like a spirit. This elemental was not really, it was, it was intelligent, but it didn't have that human feeling so much as it didn't care about other spirits. It had a purpose, it had a singular purpose, and that was its purpose. But yet it could interact. It was really weird, but it was really cool, and it was a little scary. But at the same time, this elemental, it was again, it was not human. It was summoned from a chief. So or at least by that tribe, maybe a shaman in that tribe, who knows? But I believe it was the chief. So it, there is things out there that are not necessarily human, but that also are not necessarily demons. Does that make sense? Yes, we talk about demons, and sometimes that might even be what Bob was talking about. Yes, sometimes you can get demons. I do believe that we had the hybrids way back, when you have the cultures going all the way back, Mesopotamia era, right? Ancient Christian era, Greek mythology. There was a lot of hybrids running around the earth back then because of the fallen angels mating with everything and all this stuff, right? You can go into whole ancient theories, but ultimately, I believe these different cultures, which showed through hier- mm, hieroglyphics, right? We saw in cave paintings, these fish people, dog people, cat people, all these different hybrids, centaurs, minotaurs, in the Greek mythology. So I do feel like yes, we had hybrids running around back then. And part of that punishment was to when they died to become evil spirits, blah blah blah. Anyways, I'm not going to get too much into that, but yes, I feel like those spirits, they're not all of them were human based. They were hybrids, but some of them were not human based. So they're very animalistic. That's why some of these spirits, some of these mischievous spirits, they don't have an intelligent quality to them. They are very they just kind of dash around, maybe knock things over, whatever, or just dash around corners, but you can't ever really seem to get intelligent responses from them. So I do think that yes, there's these different types of spirits that exist in the spirit realm, and depending on which spirit you have is going to be the results that you seek. Like I said again, human spirits, you may get interaction with them. Demons or elementals, you may get some type of intelligent responses from them, but they're not going to have that compassion. They're not going to have, and some of them can be deceitful. You just got to be very careful when navigating some of the different spirits in the spirit realms. So, wow, Rachel says that's pretty neat. Yeah, thank you. It isn't always a demon. A lot of older belief systems had their deities turned into demons by their conquerors. Well, yeah, absolutely. When you go back, if you can go all the way back to again ancient Christian or even Mesopotamia time frames, and they still talk about like angels and demons, so to speak, or even just demons. They had these supernatural beliefs, and they believed in ghosts back then. So it's not that this is a new concept. This is not something that's out of movies or fairy tales. They've had the concept of ghosts and demons back to our earliest cultures before we were actually writing books. So again, we know that all the way back before there was tons of population on this earth, they were still having demons and ghost issues. So, anyways, so it's pretty amazing on that. Quantum Generator, hey, thanks for joining us. Watching from Los Alamos National Laboratory, New Mexico, Office of Scientific Research and Development. Man, that is a handful. So I appreciate that. So um there so you're probably going to be disappointed that we're not going to be talking about dark matter, maybe quantum physics side of things. Who knows? Maybe there's something to believe in the paranormal that exists in between the cracks, right? In between that, the place where science can't seem to get to yet. I know that science and paranormal don't always go hand in hand because a lot of people in the scientific community, there is a good amount that necessarily doesn't have that belief system in like God and like the creation, right? They're very much based in nothing but science. So this always brings up that debate, right? Typically, you'll have your Christians, you'll have your scientists, right? And of course, paranormal seems to get lost in between because there's a whole variety between one side and the other, right? So, um, but I think we are starting to see some scientists starting to come through and talk about the afterlife. They're talking about their versions of energy with the body being that indefinite energy that does go into an energy or potentially other dimensions, parallel dimensions, all these type of things. But our existence now getting transformed into energy and existing beyond in like an energy state. Um, at this stage, we are too intellectually and technologically feeble to detect, much less comprehend, the kind of communication that's occurring amongst much more advanced species, especially paranormal. Quantum generator, you're either here or not here. I'm here. Welcome. So yeah, I mean, you know, and you're right. And I will say, like, look, you're right. There's advanced levels of communication. We could really dive into science. I'm not a true expert when it comes to the science of our brain. I can only talk about what I've learned over the years and my experience of paranormal, of just going out in the field. Like, I know without science, I know over the years being out in the field, I can say something is communicating with me. Something is beyond our normal. Something. Spirit, ghost, another being from another dimension, whatever you want to look at it, whatever the theories out there, something from beyond what we just kind of refer to as the veil, right? That line of our existence and then the next realm or whatever, there's that veil in between, right? Something beyond that veil is communicating with me. I know that. So what it is, that's the $1 million question, right? so um life exists all around us. We're visited all the time, and our civilian space program has found all kinds of things on the moon to indicate civilizations previous, if not current. Hey, I'm all for that. I would love to see some good factual research come from those things. I think that's amazing. And I look forward to our explorations into Mars, whether or not we get that feedback, the truthful feedback. I'm not trying to dive into conspiracy theories, but certainly I don't want things to be filtered. One thing we've learned about media over the years, without getting political, is we are tend to get filtered a lot here lately. So I just personally would love to see, like, if we have missions to Mars, things like that. I would love to see the factual evidence come back, not filtered, and for us to kind of look over as a human species to sort through some of that stuff. Anyways, we're getting off topic because I love talking about some of this stuff. Quantum generator, hey, maybe we'll have to get you on the show if you like to talk about these things, and we could dive into some pretty cool stuff, maybe on a bigger scale of potentially paranormal. So, guys, um, I'm probably going to start wrapping things up here. We've had a really good show so far. Unfortunately, I do have to start getting ready for work because I have to work. But if you guys go to the www. In fact, I'm going to play you guys the commercial one more time. Hey guys, if you like the work that we do here at the Everything Paranormal Show, there's many ways that you can help support the channel. Go to the everythingparanormalshow.com, click donate or subscribe. That's going to help us out. And if you can't do that, click like and share, and that's going to help us out in a tremendous way. Thank you so much, guys. And it does. It really does help out that you guys are liking and sharing these videos. Again, we've had some donations already. It's we're starting to build that up. So again, I want to continue having these discussions. Quantum says, thank you. There's been much secrecy and disinformation over the last 80 years, and that's become impossible for everything. Again, this is where it's like there's just so much, and it doesn't help that we have people on YouTube that are faking paranormal and, just that everything together with misinformation, people faking things. That's why I just try to sort through all that and say, look, guys, based on what I've been through over the last 25 years, off and on, my wife, I can say without a doubt, something from beyond that veil is communicating something as to what it is. Now, have I communicated with those things on video, and have we established that they were a past human life? Absolutely. So I do know that our energy does go past the veil, and I do think that we are having some type of intelligent response back to it. Are we responding to other things also? Absolutely. Why not? I'm open for those possibilities. I love all those things, guys. So, one thing before I leave, I want to say again, thank you guys so much for showing up tonight. Quantum Generator, hey, we're here every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Rachel Electro, Tata, Bob, Terry Lynn, Dixie Ray, ICU See Me. Am I forgetting people? If I'm forgetting your name, I'm so sorry. You guys know I'm trying to, I love each and every one of you guys. So show up every night so we can have these discussions. I'll try to do some more theoretical shows for you. We are lining up some more guests coming up. So guys, I want to close by saying a couple things. One, keep up the great work. You guys have been amazing audience. Don't forget Paranormal Underground magazine. All right, go check them out. If you haven't checked them out, go check them out. And also, don't forget Seek the Truth Paranormal. Make sure you go there. It's got the kind of like the grunge looking girl with the cemetery in the background. Not a lot of subscribers. That's going to be Vixen's channel. Go back, check that out. But yeah, we definitely want to get deeper into that. Quantum Generator. Hey, if you like discussing these things and you want to talk about some scientific stuff, hit me up on the right here on the ticker, Everything Paranormal Show at gmail.com. Hit me up. Maybe we can line something up where you can be on the show, even if it's not visual, even just audio. You can always come on just audio. So, guys, remember what I always like to say: seek the truth. We'll see you in the next video, guys.